Would you like to intro or shall I?
I think that is our intro right there.
Dang it! It happened again. What's up, Jaden? How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Thank you very much. It's starting to get hot here in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm in my little lair upstairs in my house, and it is hot. But I can't have the fan on because of the mic, and I can't have the window open because of the sun. So I'm just in here cooking for the next half hour, 45 minutes. That's my plan. What's going on in Vegas? How is it feeling over there?
It's a lot better. We are like consistently below like 70, which is really nice. I love the cold.
Okay.
Like if I could live in the snow all year round, I would. I love the cold. I hate the heat. I'm naturally a very hot person, so like I'm sweating by the time it reaches like 70 degrees. So I love it when it's cold, Also, winter clothing is just better than summer clothing.
I'm just doing the translation now. It's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 21 degrees Celsius. That's not snow weather. That's still pretty warm.
We don't get like snow down here, but if I could live in snow year round, I would.
All right, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's been happening? Well, lots has been happening, hasn't it? Lots has been happening. We've had a couple of huge competitions. There are some hardware bits and pieces going on. Why don't we start as we usually do with a record or two, and then we'll talk about then we can talk about some drama. I've got a little bit of drama for you today, so I'll let you take the lead on some records to begin with.
Yeah. So we have Yiheng with technically a world record. It's actually just tying the world record average, a 4.09 once again, which is, just getting it once is, a feat within itself. Doing it twice is also very difficult. But for it to also be, the current world record average, to do it twice by the same person, because as we saw with Max and Timon, they tied the world record average. What was that, like a year and a half, 2 years ago now?
Must be about that, yeah.
And that was two different people, and that was already very unlikely. But I think I guess you could argue either way, but I think it's harder to get the same world record twice from one person.
I think so. I think that's less likely. It's tough numbers. I'm just looking at his average just now. So he's counted 2 4s in that. He's counting 396, 4.01, and then 429. So it's weird because it's ended up as the same result.
Right.
But the numbers look tougher on this attempt because it was 2 3s and 3 4s. I feel like, what was the other one? I've got it here. The other 409 was, where is it? Here we go. 3 5 3. Yeah, he had 3 3s, so he counted 2 3s in that one, whereas he only counted 1 3 in the most recent one. So that's kind of interesting, I suppose, if you're into maths, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, very different average of 5 to land on that exact same number. There's something in there. There's something weird in there. But yeah, I thought that was very cool. And so far, it hasn't been DNF'd. So that's a refreshing change.
Yeah, it seems like, from what I've heard, it seems totally legit. Doesn't seem like there's any issues to bring up. Seems fine. I don't think there's going to be any drama with it. So, thankfully we can get, some sort of record average from Yiheng without there being anything behind it. It's just a world record average. That's
he hasn't
all it
uncovered
is.
some new loophole or something, so far,
As far as I'm aware, it seems to be totally legit with no loopholes or anything.
Great. Well, I love that for him. Love that for Yiheng. That's really exciting and really cool. I bet he's got to be feeling a mixture of emotions. He's got to be pretty stoked with that good result and obviously coming first at the Asian Championships. But he's got to be like, dang it, like, how did I carry another 4? How could I not knock 100th off it? He's got to be feeling some feelings on that. The podium, the championship podium at the Asian Championships was incredible. Yiheng Wang, Zhuanyi Geng, and Roihang Zhu. Just 3 very, very young Chinese They are all China, aren't they?
I believe. I think so.
Great. I thought I'd been awful there for a second. Yeah, they're all China. And just this podium of primary school age kids.
Yeah.
Dominating.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
Yeah.
And then the international podium, Timon managed to represent in second place with a 4.86.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, not really a surprise there, I would say, probably. It makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to see him there. Then Leo lurking at number 5 with a 5.41. But speaking of Timon, he slammed home a hammer as well, didn't he, in 5x5?
Yeah, he got another world record single, just lowering it a bit more. The new world record is now 30.45, which we are just inching closer and closer to that sub-30 barrier. Now, I know when Max was here, probably 2 months ago now it was, he dropped like a 28 or something on 5x5 when he was just here, solving. And, it was crazy. I got to catch the tail end of that solve, and the turning was incredible. Seemed like a relatively normal solve. It didn't seem like super easy or anything. So, I mean, it's definitely possible. Whether or not Max gets it first or Timon, it's kind of up in the air. Obviously, I'm voting for Max, So
yeah,
I am hoping that Max gets that first sub 35 by 5 single, and maybe within a couple of years, maybe a sub 30 average as well.
That's actually mind bending and silly. A sub 30 average on 5x5. That is so silly, and so impressive that he's getting. He must have sub 30s on film. I'm not going to go and look at them yet, but I don't know what the world best for 5x5 is, but if we're getting competition 30s, then we've got sub 30s on YouTube somewhere. I'm absolutely positive about it.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me because, my fastest 4x4 time is like a 28 or a 29. And then they're doing this on a 5x5. And that's crazy to me. Their 5x5 times are just as, if not almost faster than my 4x4 times, which is just mind-boggling.
Absolutely wild. I beg your pardon. I was looking at the first round of 3x3. I got that wrong. So Timon actually came third on the podium. I beg your pardon. But the national podium was Yiheng, Xuanyigeng, and Bofang. It was Bofang. My apologies. Little Bofang Zhang.
Really?
There we are. Yiheng Wang, Xuanyigeng, Bofang Zhang. That was our podium at Asian Championships. I beg your pardon. I was looking at the wrong round that had the world record in it. So yeah, Yiheng with the 4.42, Xuanyi with the 5.16, Timon with the 5.32.
Still not surprised that he's up there,
No, obviously not. It's still pretty championship. So that was our podium, was Yiheng, Xuanyi, and Bofang. It was adorable. Just 3 tiny boys.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast they are and how good they are at such a young age. Because I get that they have their coaches and stuff, and I get that they dedicate a lot of time to it. But that's still, it's still impressive to be that good. You're world class, essentially, before the age of 10. Which is, no matter how much natural talent you have to put so much work and dedication into it to reach that level. Especially before the age of 10. Before, your hands, get bigger. Before, your mind and brain is fully developed. It's wildly impressive.
I can't remember if we've talked about this before, but I do often wonder what their sort of lifespan curve in cubing looks like.
Yeah, we have referenced it. Yeah.
We have talked about it, hey, because it's does Yiheng compete for 4 years and bail when he's 13 or 14?
Right. Where does he plateau,
Yeah. This is going to be, I've got a really interesting chat coming up with Antoine Canton, who's based in China. He's on my show tomorrow at the time of recording this. So I'm interested to get some more intel from him about Chinese cubing and what that might look like. So that might be one of the things we talk about. But essentially, we're just going to talk about, I just want to know as much as I can about what's going on and in the scene in Japan and what the pro cubers are. Because I'm trying to just imagine, is Yiheng going to be competing age 18? I don't know. Age 16, I don't know. It's such a long time away,
yeah.
And he's already so fast. It's just well, what does the future look like? I've no idea.
Right.
But anyway, big records. Hey, On the subject of, going back just a bit before I corrected my mistake there, on the subject of Max, would you like to talk a little bit about the Max Park Pro line? Yeah, because he's got his own line of cubes, right?
Yeah. So similar to that of like the J-Perm line of cubes, it's the cubes like he uses, and he came in, the first time he came to our shop, we had sat down with him and we had, essentially, taken a look at his main cubes, the ones that he brought in that day and, said that he was using. We, took those cubes, tried them out, and then we tried to replicate the feel of that, the way he had set them up using our loops. And we got to a point where I think we have everything 3 through 7. He doesn't do 2x2 or any of like the side events, but we have quite a few 3x3s just because he uses he kind of like switches between them, like kind of like day of, he kind of feels it out and he's like, okay, I want to use like this other one for this comp. So the two main ones that he's using or uses most often are the Pioneer XT3 and then the Pioneer Tornado V4. So we set those up and we've got, I believe we have both of those listed. At the time of recording this, we may still have a couple more to post. We may just have to take like product pictures of them. But he came into the shop, we set him up. I know we had a little bit of feedback with the fact that we had put the Spark, a 7x7, as one of his cubes.
I was just writing you a message to be like, can we talk about the Spark? So tell us the story about that, because someone hit me up asking to hit you up about the Spark. About like, what Max Park isn't using a Spark? What's going on? Tell us the story of the Spark.
So I want to make this like clear, because this is something that either we didn't make clear enough or the people who have been commenting didn't pay attention to. I'm going to lean on the side that we probably didn't explain it well enough. But when Max came in for the first time to our shop, he brought us the cubes that he said he was using. Now, there's no reason for us to argue with Max. If Max says these are the ones he's using, if those are the ones he's using that day, there's no reason for me to argue with him. I can suggest cubes, but if Max says I don't want it or I don't want to try it, then that's his decision. Mm-hmm. So when he came in the first time, he brought the Spark with him. So we had set up the Spark as one of the cubes. Now, of course, Max has, been using the Alfu as like one of his main cubes, main 7x7s, and he's been breaking the world record with that. But again, if Max at that moment had decided that he wanted to switch back to the Spark, that was his decision. We weren't going to argue with it. So we set up a Spark for him. And then when we finally posted that about a month and a half later, people had said, oh, Max isn't using the Spark. Also, I think a day or two before that, we put those listings up, he had broken the 7x7 world record using the Alfu. Oh. And so, obviously that didn't really help our case. But whatever 7x7 Max says, hey, I'm using, we're going to make one for him.
Yeah, right.
So Max has gone back to using the Alfu, and we have made a setup for it. I don't know if it's listed, but we do have one. We do have a setup. It is coming.
Yeah, no, I can see that on the site just now. Pre-order. It's up for pre-order.
Awesome.
Shipping on the 15th. I was just looking for the size. So there's only 1.5 mil difference. The Spark's quite small. Hey, I do. The Spark is an older cube. But I mean, if that's the cube he was using when he came in to get the cube set up, then it's the cube he was using. And like you say, yeah, he does switch between them. So that is not to say that he won't ever use it.
Yeah, and I get it. I get people see that and they're like, that's not what I've been seeing him use in videos.
Yeah,
I totally understand. I was just as surprised when he came into the office and said, I'm using the Spark. I understand it. I totally get it. But again, if that's the cube he said he was using, who am I to argue with Max? So that is why we have the Spark up there. One, that was the first one we made. That's what he came in with. And also, if there's a chance he might switch back to it, from the Alfu, or maybe he just swaps between the two.
Who knows?
But, the Alfu's up, so it is there.
Would you like a little bit of drama? You fancy some drama, some scandal?
I do fancy some drama.
There have been some complaints coming out of the Asian Championships. On my source is the Cubics Friends Facebook page, which is where there's quite a lot of members over there. People have been complaining that there were some issues with scheduling at Asian Championships. The issue, as far as I understand it, is that the comps started to run ahead, and people, as a result, were being excluded from taking part in certain rounds because they were turning up late for their group. Now, some of the rounds had up to 30 groups in them, which is pretty wild. Like,
oh wow,
so many.
That's big.
So one, it's incredibly impressive that a continental event got more than half an hour ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, let's just acknowledge that. That's pretty impressive. But
yeah, I mean, even small comps with, even like 20 people, that can fall behind super quickly. So for a comp of that scale to be ahead at all is massive.
Now, the issue is that people feel, I think, that this wasn't communicated properly, that they were pulling all the events forward, that they were changing the schedule. Some people are saying, well, it was an impossible task to communicate that fact. Other people saying they should never have started events early. At a competition of that scale, they should have stuck to the schedule. So it appears a matter of fact that people travel to, it was Malaysia, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it, that the competition was at. There were people going to this huge championship, turning up at what they thought was on time as per the organizers' emails before the competition, and then were being disallowed from competing because they were late. From what I've heard, Timon Koleshinsky came very close to not being allowed to compete in one round of 3x3.
Wow.
So I guess that is the information that I have gleaned from the Facebook page. I just wondered if you had any initial thoughts. What are your thoughts and feelings? Because you're a fairly experienced organizer. What's your vibe on comps running early? What would you do?
I know that when we send out emails, and I think even on like maybe even like the WCA page itself, where it talks about competitions, I think it suggests that you arrive to your event a certain amount of time ahead, just in case things run early, and also, so you can warm up. Now, I don't know if, I don't know how much time they said, or if they said at all that they should be arriving early for their events. If they did, if they said, hey, arrive 15 minutes early for your event, the event itself should not start any earlier than 15 minutes beforehand. Mm-hmm. So, if it starts at 3 and they say get here at 2:45, then the event, if you're running ahead, should start no earlier than 2:45. And then that way you have a little bit of extra time. If anyone misses a round or something, you can throw them in a little bit later in another group. Obviously, this is a huge championship, so, moving people around isn't always the easiest task, whereas with our competitions, we handle a little over 100 people. It's a little bit more manageable. Now, trying to communicate it, you can always send out emails. If you have a microphone or some sort of sound system, announce it to everyone there. I don't know what this full situation is like, but especially during lunchtime, announce, hey, we've been running ahead of schedule, expect that we're going to be ahead of schedule for all these other events. Please show up early. But at the same time, sending out emails is the most you can do. And it's tough because you spend a lot of money to go out there and compete at these competitions, and you want to go to your event, but if you show up, theoretically on time, and they say, well, that's too bad, it sucks because hey, I'm on time technically, but now you're telling me I can't compete, and it's sorry, we were ahead. And it's you should have checked an email or something. Maybe you should have been here earlier. It sucks, And obviously, I think this is kind of like an unprecedented situation. I don't think it's really happened before, especially to this scale. So I think it's another one of those situations where we found an issue, we found a flaw, and there's only so much we can do about it in the moment. Now let's figure out a way to prevent this from happening in the future.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the competitors list. So 653 people from 29 different regions. So that's already a difficult group of people to communicate with, because you've got language barriers, you've got time zone barriers, all this kind of stuff. I mean, arguably they sent these comms about the schedule out during the time of the competition running. But in my mind, unless you have everyone in the room and you have everyone's agreement that you are going to change the schedule, you can't change a schedule for a huge event like this.
And at least not like you can't change it by any huge margin either. Because I would get if it's like, hey, we're a little ahead, let's do 5 minutes earlier, give us a little bit more time or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, trying to move it, like if they moved it like, oh, we're going to start 30 minutes before it's scheduled to, like that's too much.
That's so much. And like you say, moving it outside the range of the time that you were told to turn up early is just ridiculous. Someone made an analogy on the Facebook page about, imagine that at an airport, you turn up for your boarding time and they tell you the plane's left because everyone else was on.
Yeah.
And they were ahead of schedule, so they just let the plane go. Just like, well, I would like my money back. Thank you very much.
Right, exactly.
I wonder, I have seen people, demanding that delegates get reprimanded by the WCA or whatever, but we don't know what's, if anything, is gonna come out of it. But I did think that was pretty stinky for people who had traveled a long, long way, to a championship of that size, to have the rug pulled like that. Like, it seems inherently unfair, So, yeah, I'm not sure if anything's going to come out of that. Tell us in the comments what you would do. Do you think that was unfair? Do you have a different viewpoint on it? Like, are we putting a Western lens on this? Is this something that happens at competitions in this region? I don't know. I have seen small comps run ahead of schedule in New Zealand. Generally speaking, what happens is at lunchtime or a certain event, we will stop and we will let the schedule let the events get back on schedule. Unless I've been at some very small comps recently with like 16 to 20 people where everyone's in the room and we go, we're ahead of schedule, everyone's here, we're going to get into it, because we can look around and see that everyone's here. But that was 650 people. That's ridiculous. Like, and yeah, it's a biggie. It's a real biggie, but that's what that is. Nothing has happened so far except that people have yapped about it on Cubix's friends, but we'll see how that transpires. I wanted to talk about some hardware as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you're down for that. Let's talk about cubes that just came out and people were excited about, but then haven't sold very well. Shall we?
Let's do it, yeah.
HuaMeng TG.
I'm excited for this one.
You're excited for this cube?
I'm excited to talk about it and for the cube itself.
Okay, cool. Well, so I've had it up on pre-order and I've sold absolutely none of them. Like, not one. Which I thought was very, very interesting given how well the HuaMeng originally went.
Right.
There are a number of factors to consider about this, which I can get into. But what have you seen on your end? You're in a different part of the world, a different scale altogether. Have you seen limited enthusiasm for the HuaMeng TG?
I think I know, like, I think the big problem is people they don't know about the cube. They don't know enough about it. Now, we have a video that's going to come out on the cube. So hopefully that's, going to make more people aware of it. But people they don't know what the cube is like. They don't know why it costs as much as it does. I would say are probably a little skeptical. I will say this. When Max Park was here last weekend, he loved the cube. He was using it stock and was dropping sub 5s. So
okay.
He said that he might switch to this. Then again, he already has 2 cubes that he uses all the time. in our setup, the way he likes it. So he might not. He might go back to using just the Tornado V4 and the XT3, but he was really enjoying the HuaMeng. Now, in my opinion, I don't think it's worth the price that it has. I think it's too expensive. But I did bring one to just kind of hopefully explain some things.
Okay.
So with this cube, you have the same concept that GAN had with the 14. Just customization, customization, customization. There is a ton of it. So it has your adjustable corner magnets, you have your adjustable edge magnets, you have your dual adjustment system, and then you have, not in terms of customization, you have opposing edge magnets and then corner-to-core magnets. So it's got a ton of features in there and a lot of customization. Now, with the edge magnets, there's actually 5 settings instead of GAN's 3 that they had. And I do believe you have to switch it on both sides, which is a little annoying. The corner magnets come with 6 settings. And then the dual adjustment system, for the little top ring that it has, there are 6 settings. And then for the tension settings, there are 9 different settings there.
God dang. So this is almost the perfect cube for you in the comments if you're busy raging out about the fact that the GAN 15 has no adjustable magnets. Don't even sweat it. There's a cube for you, and it's the HuaMeng TG.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper than a GAN cube as well. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive. That's been my on the surface level. I've been like, this is an expensive puzzle. This is a GAN.
Yeah. It's definitely, in my opinion, I don't think the puzzle is quite worth as much as they're asking for it, though it is a good cube. I have started using it recently, and I use the RS3 and V5, the ball core UV, and I like the stability of that cube. I've also added extra magnets to make it stronger, so it's a little bit more snappy. Where this cube does kind of already have those snappy feeling magnets. It feels very stable, and it's very controllable out of the box. So it's not one of those cubes that's like, unreasonably fast. Like, it's actually usable out of the box, which is really nice. The downside to this, the big downside, other than having too many customization options, is the cube is heavy. Like, this thing is a brick. Like, it is heavy. I get tired of solving this very quickly. It is technically, I think, only a gram heavier than the YS3M, but it feels a lot heavier, like, in your hands. And I think that has to do with the really strong magnets causing a lot of, like, resistance and stuff. And then just the fact that there's so many pieces that feel like they're just weighted down by, the adjustments in them.
There's a lot of mass in there. Like, there was a video came out from Moyu, and just the amount of mass inside each piece of metal and plastic inside each piece it's a lot.
I would say, I know that, like, we see, like, the special edition versions of Moyu cubes come out. I would love to see a special edition version of this cube where you only have the dual adjustment system and you get rid of the adjustable corner and edge magnets and you just leave them on the strongest setting. Or even the second strongest or the middle setting, I know some people don't like really strong magnets. I like really strong magnets, so I would like them on the strongest setting. But I would love to get rid of the adjustment systems, just put it on the middle setting for both, and leave only the dual adjustment system. You'd probably reduce a ton of the weight. You'd have a cube that probably performs a bit better, just because you're not having to put as much force into the cubes, so you're not getting as tired, not as fatigued. And also, you could probably drop the price a fair bit on it.
Yeah.
So, like, essentially like a light version.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at the versions again now. So you've got there's a maglev UV and frosted, and there's a spring UV and frosted that has, all of them have all the adjustments. All of them have all the everything.
Yes.
So
yeah,
there's a lot going on in there.
I like the spring version. Maglev
2-speed
is all right. Typically, I'm a maglev lover. I love maglev in my cubes. Pretty much all of them, all the main ones I've had have maglev in them. But this one, I prefer the spring. I think it feels just a little bit better.
I mean, that's the one I would have gone for intuitively. I think if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get the spring one because I prefer the spring. Let's wrap up. Well, quickly, I'm finding that the QiYi XT3
Yeah.
Also, I think what the XT3 and the HuaMeng TG have in common is a massive marketing issue, because the HuaMeng TG, there just wasn't any marketing for it. There just wasn't any hype at all. There was no build up. It just happened, and everyone was like, what? Huh? I just got a tornado. What's happening? And then also, QiYi did it to themselves as well with the XT. The XT came out, and everyone was just like, don't care. I've got a Tornado V4. What are you up to?
Yeah, it was too close to the Tornado V4 release.
Yeah.
And the XT3 to me feels like, essentially the budget alternative to that. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one, Tornado V4 with less features, but it does seem like it's like, okay, I didn't want to spend all the money on the Tornado V4, let me get the XT3. But the problem was they're released so close together, or at least I would have released the XT3 first and said, hey, this is not our flagship, this is our budget one, and then release the Tornado V4.
Or maybe saved it for the new year.
Yeah.
Because there's no win. Like, even if they did sell a bunch of XT3s, that's just Tornadoes they're not selling.
Exactly.
In the lead up to Christmas. Like, really, really baffling choice there from QiYi, in my humble opinion.
And the XT3 also has the flaw of being very, very flexible.
Yeah, it was a bit floppy for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was super flexible. Even on like the tightest setting, it still felt really flexible. It's the same issue that the MS3R had, which was that even on the tightest setting, it was too flexible to use, like competitively. Obviously, it wasn't to the same extent as the MS3R. I actually feel like I could use the XT3 and actually compete with it. But it's that issue of, even on the tightest setting, it's too loose. So why would I ever use the 10 other lower settings that are offered, which make the cube feel even looser? Like, that's the flaw, is that you've made the cube too loose. I think if you fix that issue and then also had released it at a different time, this would have been a much more successful cube.
Yeah.
And I truly think it's a good cube. I think it performs really well. And it's sad that it's not getting its proper time to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is selling at least, because I think it represents a very different price point from the Tornado, and also, of course, compared to the HuaMeng TG. So that's going for, I don't know what it is in US. I'm looking at my own site, but it's like $115 New Zealand for the top tier HuaMeng TG, which is the same price as a GAN 15. No, it's $10 less than a GAN 15, so it's pretty much a GAN 15 price.
Yeah, it's up there in price, which is, again, I think you fall into the same hole that GAN did with the 14, where it was all this customization, but you didn't realize that we're not asking for customization. We're not asking for a whole bunch of different options. We're asking for a reasonable amount. We want a couple of settings for each thing so we can adjust it. I think having 3, weak, medium, strong, I think that's good. I think that's enough. Also, with that, it's like you just need to have a good cube. If you can make a cube that didn't have these adjustments and it performs well, you've made a good cube. Then you can add your adjustments to it. Then you can add your dual adjustment system and core magnets and whatnot. But also, I think I've said this before, I don't think adjustable edge magnets are useful, or as useful as they're made out to be. Get rid of them. We don't need the adjustable edge magnets.
I'm a long-term adjustable magnet hater, but I think I don't necessarily feel the benefit of them at all. And it's just more stuff to break. And anytime there's more stuff to break, I'm like, oh no, more points of failure, more returns. No.
Yeah.
We should probably think about wrapping it up. I'm just going to drop a little plug for my terrible mustache that I'm growing this month. It's Movember, so raising money for men's health. I'm going to see if I can get these guys to drop a link in the description, and we can try and raise some funds there. You're obviously every day doing a much better job at growing a mustache than I am, so well done on you.
Yeah, well, I still haven't shaved at all. For November yet, because usually what I do is I keep like a Van Dyke, essentially the mustache, a little goatee in the front, very like cowboy-esque. That's what I usually do, and I've just been, especially this year, just been falling behind. So probably expect that next week all the stuff on the side is just going to be gone.
I want to see full handlebar. That's what I want. A full handlebar mustache. Right, everyone write full handlebar in the comments. If we
Like, the ends do get like fairly long. I usually have to trim them because they keep like, you know, just like they'll just randomly turn up and whatever, and the maintenance is terrible. But if I were to grow it out and get some mustache wax, I probably could, you know, like little like handlebar. Or...
That's 2 acceptable mustaches that I will have. Right, the proper handlebar just down here like
right.
that. Hulk Hogan, or like Hulk Hogan in the 90s, or properly like curved.
Like the spiral, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm after. I don't think I'm going to be able to knock that out in 30 days. And also my wife hates it, so it's not in my best interest to do it. So there's that as well. Let's wrap it up. Hey, thank you so much, Jaden. We'll be back at a similar time next week, everyone. And that's it. Ooh, awkward outro.
Ooh, wow, that's new.
Bye.
Take care.